Some UK gins are so disastrously artificial, they should come with a warning label. Bottles that look premium on the shelf turn out to be cheaply diluted neutral alcohol wearing expensive glass. And those wildly popular pink gins everyone posts online? Some are pumped with so much sugar they barely qualify as gin at all. Behind the pretty colours and botanical fairy tales sits a truth the big brands hope you never notice. So today, we're pulling the curtain all the way back. This is the UK's gin brands ranked from absolute bottom tier to genuinely worth your money. Before we begin, hit subscribe so you never miss a brutally honest breakdown. 10. Gordon's Pink Gin. Gordon's Pink Gin walks into the room looking harmless, almost cute, like the kind of drink you'd trust at a summer garden party. Then you actually taste it, and suddenly you're wondering how something this unbelievably sugary is legally allowed to call itself gin. The bottle promises delicate berries and sophistication, but what it delivers is a syrupy blast so aggressively sweet it practically bullies your taste buds into submission. Here's the wild part. The bold colour isn't the work of fresh berries or gentle maceration. It's certified colouring mixed with natural flavourings that taste suspiciously like liquefied strawberry sweets. And if you go hunting for juniper, the botanical that actually defines gin, you'd have better luck finding unicorn footprints. The juniper's buried under a tidal wave of artificial berry notes that scream louder than a misfired fire alarm. Then there's the ABV. It sits right on the legal minimum, a suspiciously weak 37.5%. That signals dilution. That signals cost-cutting. That signals, please don't ask what we did in the factory. The reviews say it all. Experts describe it as jammy, cloying, and overwhelmingly artificial. Fans of actual gin call it a berry-flavoured sugar bomb pretending to be grown up. And honestly, they're being polite. Gordon's Pink earns the bottom spot because it's not just bad, it's catastrophically misleading. A drink so drenched in sweetness and shortcuts that it feels engineered for Instagram first and human consumption second. Pretty? Yes. Real gin? Not even close. 9. Aldi Oliver Cromwell Gin. Aldi's Oliver Cromwell Gin is famous for one thing, being cheap. Really cheap. The kind of price that makes you suspicious before you even screw the cap off. Unfortunately, the flavour confirms every dark thought you had. This gin hits your nose with a harsh bite that feels closer to petrol fumes than anything botanical. And once it's in your mouth, the roughness becomes painfully obvious. Let's talk quality. Proper London dry gins are made with steeped botanicals and careful distillation. Aldi's version tastes like it sprinted past that entire process and instead chose violence. It's one-dimensional, thin, and aggressively sharp, almost like it's punishing you for choosing the discount option. And again, we're sitting at that flimsy 37.5% ABV. Translation: heavily diluted neutral spirit that's stretched so far it's practically begging for mercy. Fans say it mixes fine with tonic, which is code for bury it under something strong enough and you'll survive. But try it neat and you'll immediately understand its ranking. The lack of depth is painfully clear. No citrus lift, no warm spice, no distinctive juniper profile, just a flat, alcoholic slap. The problem isn't that it's cheap, the problem is that it tastes cheap. Proper gin doesn't have to cost a fortune, but it shouldn't feel like a dare either. Aldi's Cromwell lands here because it's brutally rough, aggressively hollow, and barely clinging onto the definition of gin. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's dangerously close. 8. Whitley Neal Flavoured Gins. Whitley Neal bottles look gorgeous on the shelf. Bright colours, quirky flavours, and enough marketing charm to make you believe magic is inside. Then you actually pour a glass, and the truth arrives instantly. This isn't gin. This is a dessert liqueur masquerading as something sophisticated. The flavours are explosive, but not in a good way. Rhubarb and ginger hits like liquid pie filling. Blood orange tastes like orange soda on a sugar high. Raspberry comes across like melted sweets. And in every bottle, the sweetness smothers the juniper so completely, it feels like the botanicals didn't even make it into the room. Here's the twist most people miss. Even though these bottles sit at a confident 43% ABV, the sweetness is added after distillation. That means they can legally call it gin, but it behaves more like a cocktail syrup with identity issues. Real London Dry rules forbid post-distillation sweetening. Whitley Neal doesn't follow that path. Customer reviews say it all. People who love fruity drinks absolutely adore it. Gin drinkers, they're horrified. Many describe it as cloying, overwhelming, or so sweet it makes your teeth vibrate. The flavors aren't subtle, they aren't balanced, they aren't refined. They're bright, loud, sugary, and chaotic. Whitley Neal ranks 8th because while it's undeniably fun, it's almost comically far from what gin should be. It's candy with a degree, colourful chaos in a bottle, and absolutely not for anyone who wants actual gin character. 7. Bombay Sapphire. Bombay Sapphire is one of the most recognisable bottles on earth. That bright blue glass practically winks at you from every bar shelf. The branding is flawless, the story is elegant, the botanicals sound exotic, but the flavour, shockingly mild, frustratingly timid, almost suspiciously quiet. The problem isn't that it's bad, it's that it barely tries. Bombay Sapphire relies on vapour infusion, which produces a lighter spirit, and while that can be beautiful in expert hands, here it results in a gin so delicate it feels like someone whispered juniper into the bottle instead of actually adding it. Most reviewers call it approachable, which is polite code for forgettable. You get a flash of lemon, a touch of spice, a ghost of juniper, and then it all vanishes before you've even swallowed. Mixed with tonic, it practically dissolves into the background. If your goal is a gin that hides in a cocktail like it's shy, congratulations. You've found your champion. But compared to the bold personalities above and below it, Bombay feels like the kid in class who answers questions with a shrug. Nothing offensive, nothing exciting, nothing memorable. It's the definition of safe. Too safe. A gin so mild that seasoned gin drinkers often describe it as decorative jazz water. Bombay Sapphire ranks 7th because it's not awful, but it's absolutely underwhelming. A gin with all the visual drama in the world and none of the flavour to match. 6. Beefeater London Dry. Beefeater is the point in the ranking where things finally start tasting like proper gin. Not candy. Not diluted spirit with a costume. Actual gin. And the shocking part, it doesn't rely on 47 botanicals or some mystical water source guarded by woodland creatures. It's simple, disciplined, and made exactly the way London Dry should be made. The heart of Beefeater is its full-day maceration. That means the botanicals sit and soak until every bit of citrus, juniper, and spice bonds with the spirit. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is faked. When it finally hits the stills, the flavour comes out bold and honest. Juniper leads confidently without bullying everything else. There's a clean hit of pine, a punch of citrus peel, and a warm mix of roots and spices that actually feels like ingredients instead of artificial perfume. And because Beefeater uses the single shot method, the final liquid comes straight from the still, diluted only with water rather than mixed with industrial spirit. The only reason it doesn't rank higher is simple. Beefeater is classic, reliable, familiar. It's the gin equivalent of a well-tailored suit. It delivers exactly what it promises, but it won't surprise you or introduce you to new botanical universes. Still, after the chaos of sugary-flavoured bottles and aggressively weak supermarket creations, Beefeater feels like a sigh of relief, a dependable gin that actually respects the category. 5. Tanqueray. Tanqueray doesn't whisper. It doesn't gently ease you in. It hits the glass with a fearless intensity that tells you instantly this is a gin for people who actually like gin. 4 botanicals. That's all. Juniper, coriander, angelica, and licorice. And yet, this simple recipe produces one of the strongest botanical profiles in the mainstream market. From the first sip, the juniper leaps out with the confidence of someone who doesn't care what the room thinks. It's piney, sharp, and absolutely unmistakable. Then the citrus arrives, bright and clean, followed by a spicy finish that lingers like it's got something left to say. Part of Tanqueray's bite comes from its ABV. While many gins coast at 40%, Tanqueray stands taller at 43.1 or higher depending on the market. That extra strength carries the flavour deeper, giving cocktails a backbone instead of fading into the background. Now, the intensity can be too much for beginners. Some drinkers swear Tanqueray tastes almost aggressive, but compared to the mild forgetfulness of weaker gins, this feels like clarity. Like someone finally turned the lights on. Its drawback? Subtlety. Tanqueray doesn't do nuance, it does power. And while that puts it above the classics behind it, the top three simply offer more layers and more character. Even so, Tanqueray is the moment the ranking stops playing around. A confident, unapologetic bottle that proves gin can be loud without being sloppy. 4. Sipsmith. Sipsmith didn't just enter the gin scene, it kicked the door open and reminded the country what small batch distilling was supposed to look like. This was the brand that helped revive British gin culture, pushing past the industrial shortcuts and showing that real flavour comes from patience, copper, and proper technique. Everything starts with the single shot method. No concentrated gin. No post-distillation flavour hacks. The botanicals steep in wheat spirit, then the entire batch is distilled once in a copper pot still. What comes out is the real deal. Pure, rounded, untampered. The nose hits you with pine and citrus, but then the complexity reveals itself. Orange zest, angelica, a soft little thread of licorice, subtle spice. Every sip unfolds in stages, which is rare for a widely available gin, and the texture is brilliant. Smooth enough to sip straight, bold enough to stand up in a martini, balanced enough to work in a tonic without losing its voice. Its limitation? It doesn't push into wild flavour experimentation. Sipsmith is classic but elevated, consistent but predictable, craft but still grounded in tradition. Still, when you pour it, there's no pretending or gimmick, just genuine craftsmanship. Sipsmith earns its spot because it respects the category, respects the drinker, and actually tastes like the gin renaissance it helped create. 3. Hendrick's. Hendrick's is the gin that made an entire generation rethink what gin could taste like. Before Hendrick's, florals were background notes. After Hendrick's, rose and cucumber suddenly had a fan club. The bottle looks like it was stolen from an apothecary, and the flavour behaves like it's hosting a garden party in your mouth. The distillation process alone is enough to grab your attention. 2 separate stills. 2 separate methods. Pot still depth combined with Carterhead aromatics. Then the signature additions, rose essence and cucumber extract. Sounds delicate, tastes surprisingly bold. The aroma leans floral, but the juniper still stands its ground. Citrus, soft sweetness, and a faint earthy bitterness glide in behind it. Mixed with tonic, Hendrick's becomes something completely different. Light, refreshing, almost playful. But here's the twist that keeps it grounded at third place. Hendrick's can feel mild if you drink it neat. Some reviewers complain the rose vanishes. Others say the flavour flattens without ice. It's a gin that performs best when mixed, not when sipped straight. It's also pricier than many of the classics, and the quirky branding doesn't win everyone over. Some drinkers swear it feels more like a marketing sensation than a botanical breakthrough. Still, Hendrick's earns its position because it changed the gin landscape. It's unique without being chaotic, floral without being perfumey, and versatile enough to satisfy both casual drinkers and experienced gin fans. 2. Silent Pool. Silent Pool steps into the ranking with the confidence of something handcrafted, complex, and almost annoyingly pretty. The bottle alone looks like it was designed to hypnotize people into spending money. But unlike the pretenders below it, Silent Pool actually earns the attention. It's built with 24 botanicals, spring water pulled straight from the Surrey Hills, and a distillation process so intricate it borders on obsessive. There are 2 separate macerations happening at once. One for hardy botanicals that need time to soften, and another for delicate flowers that collapse if you treat them roughly. Then both batches meet in a copper still filled with even more aromatics strapped into a gin basket. Add a touch of honey directly to the pot and you get a texture that feels almost unfair to everything below it. The flavour hits in stages. First a burst of floral notes, then citrus that brightens everything. After that, a wave of herbs, spice and warmth that gathers toward the finish. And the honey gives the whole thing a silky weight that refuses to disappear. But here's the catch. This level of complexity isn't cheap, and if you pair it with a strong tonic, the entire structure collapses and tastes like a bouquet drowned in soda. It demands care. It demands a light hand. Silent Pool sits at second because it's astonishingly detailed, beautifully layered, and genuinely handcrafted, but slightly too delicate to stand above our number 1. 1. Monkey 47. Monkey 47 isn't just gin, it's sensory overload in a bottle. It's what happens when a distiller wakes up and chooses chaos. 47 Botanicals, a base spirit made from molasses instead of grain. A resting period in earthenware pots. A bottle so small and pricey you almost feel judged while buying it. And yet, every ridiculous decision somehow pays off. From the second you open it, the aroma is explosive. Juniper pushes forward, but so do citrus, herbs, florals, spice, and the strangest hints of forest and fruit. It smells like someone bottled an entire garden. Then you taste it and everything gets louder. Mint, pine, lemon balm, lavender, pepper, blackberry, something vaguely vegetal, and another thing you won't even be able to name. Every sip is a new chapter, and none of them feel accidental. The 47% ABV gives it a thick body that survives in any cocktail. It doesn't get drowned, it doesn't fade, it announces itself like it paid the bar rent. But that power comes with a warning. People who like simple gin often find Monkey 47 overwhelming. Too intense, too layered, too much work. And yes, the price sits at the top like a final plot twist. But the craftsmanship is undeniable. The detail is undeniable. The flavor is undeniable. Monkey 47 ranks number 1 because it's fearless, wildly intricate, beautifully overbuilt. A masterpiece for people who want gin that refuses to behave politely. Some gins hide behind pretty colors. Others distract you with sugar, shortcuts, or marketing fantasies. But after climbing through the weak, the wild, and the outright disastrous, the truth's clear. Real gin has depth, honesty, and actual craft behind it. If you found a new favorite or learned which bottles to avoid forever, hit subscribe. More brutally honest rankings are on the way.